in stride. Oh, Mac attack. Last 5 points for the Bison. Hoops fans, thanks so much for tuning in, whether it be via Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. Hopefully you have a strong Wi-Fi connection, or maybe you're eager enough to burn some precious data for us. We certainly think we're cool enough. Great to be alongside two-time Patriot League Coach of the Year, Aaron Roussell. I'm Justin Antweil. All right, Coach, we've reached the midway point of the Patriot League's 18-game regular season slate. Your Bucknell squad stands at 6-3, tied for second with Lehigh and Navy. How would you evaluate the season thus far?
I feel like it's gone pretty quickly. I think all of a sudden, I don't know how long ago this has been now, but a 2-3 month journey. I think we had a lot of conference games jammed early in the conference season. I think it's, I hate to say about as expected, because maybe, where we're at right now, I don't know if I would have been shocked if we were at this spot. You would like to have a few more W's, but I think we're progressing. I think we said this was going to be a year about growth and development, and I feel like we're probably as sharp as we've been all year here 9 games into the conference season.
There's so many aspects of coaching, whether it be X's and O's, recruiting, scouting. Also, you have to manage some people, and I think that's been a huge part of this year. What do you do to make sure you can find out what makes a player tick?
I think a lot of that is development from our assistant coaches too. I think obviously when you're a leader, you're making a lot of decisions that, inevitably are going to make people, kind of question you a little bit. I think our assistant coaches have been really good with that, whether it's on the floor player development, I think building of relationships. We have 2 new assistants right now, and I think they've been fantastic at really getting to know these guys, and I think our players have been very comfortable with them.
Offensively, your MVP has been Kate Walker. Her growth has been night and day from her sophomore year to her junior year. She was kind of a stationary shooter last year. Now she's kind of a Swiss Army knife. What triggered all this?
She works really hard. She's one of our hardest workers. She's in the gym before practice, after practice, and seriously focused at those times, not just kind of casually getting up shots. So she's worked really hard. I think our assistants have done a good job with that too. But I think it's just been a mindset. I think you get a lot more comfortable when you get into that 3rd season. She's been much more aggressive. She's, like you said, she's not just a shooter right now. She's been able to put the ball on the floor. I got to think she's getting the free throw line during the conference season more than anybody else has, and I think she's really become that tough cover.
Defensively, what do you like about your team? You held Holy Cross to a season-low 47 points, and a Navy team that was averaging 71 points to lowly 39.
I think that's been another slow growth right there, too. I think I said to the players before practice today, if you were to tell me 3 weeks ago that we'd be where we are defensively right now, obviously I'd be very pleased, but maybe somewhat surprised too. And I just think just the mindset of our players have really been that we've really locked in. I think that's been to the scouting. I think that's been a characteristic of ours over the years. We just weren't really there. And you look back and all right, it's a lot of new kids trying to figure some things out. But I feel like there's been a real step up in our sense of pride and being locked into that scouting report. And I don't know if we have the top 5 defenders in the league by any stretch individually, but I think when we've played well as collectively as a group, I think we've been pretty strong out there.
All right, you faced every team in the Patriot League once. How did the adjustments tinker the second time around? Because you know them, but they know you too.
Yeah, you got to play harder and you got to play better. I think it's obviously the easy answer. I think, you're kind of looking back at the last time that you played them. But, some of these guys, just the nature of watching these teams over the last few weeks, you see some changes in how they're playing. So, for instance, playing BU this weekend, we've seen some things that are even different than how they did or how they played that first time against us, even if it was only, I guess, 3 weeks ago. So I think you're adjusting a little bit to how you played. You're adjusting to what they are right now. But to be honest with you, you're also, as a coach, adjusting to their adjustments. We've been doing this. How are they going to adjust, and how are we going to adjust to those adjustments?
All right, last one. You're a workaholic. It's nice to see you not have a laptop in your hands for once.
The
All
greatest show for it. The greatest show for it.
What does Aaron Roussell like to do when he's not focusing on basketball? Let's say your lovely wife Molly falls asleep watching Netflix, and all three of your kids, healthy and happy, are asleep at once, which is rare. What do you like to do to get away from the game to kind of recharge your batteries?
I think, to be honest with you, when the kids are asleep and Molly's asleep, I think that really is my time to really get a little bit more done with basketball. And I think, trying to still work on this, but as you get older, you really enjoy the time when you're with the kids. That's your time to get away from basketball. Once the kids are in bed and Molly's watching whatever she's watching, that's a little bit more time to get a little more focused on the basketball side of it. But I do feel very fortunate to have some balance in my life, whether that's with family, hanging out with the assistant coaches. I think I've been pretty good with that.
Coming out of college, Coach, you thought about being a lawyer. This coaching thing's worked out real well the last 14 years.
I would like to think I'm enjoying myself a lot more than I had gone that route. Absolutely.
Thanks so much, and best of luck in the second half of Patriot League play.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
That was Aaron Roussell. I'm Justin Antweil. More fun ahead. We're going to catch up with one of the junior stars for the Bucknell women's basketball team coming up next. Lefty fakes the three. Romaine down low to Slay. Gets the blow by. Lefty finish. Gets it. Little funny in the lane for the preseason All-League select. Cap, catch and shoot again. Abby Cap. Kate Walker turning the corner and scoring. They call themselves the Fab Five. It's the Bucknell women's basketball junior class. They've already accounted for 64 wins in just 2.5 seasons. I'm joined by one of those juniors right now, and Rachel Dumiak. Rachel, how are you?
Good. How are you, Justin?
Well, thanks so much for joining me. You're having a breakout third season with the orange and blue. What's the key to your success?
Definitely my teammates' support. They've always been there for me, and we play really well together as a group. So definitely all credited to them. I'm out there and helping facilitate things, but they make it so much easier.
You're shooting 48% from downtown. Anything mechanically different?
Coach Radice and I have been working a lot, just getting my shot up. I think in other years it's been very flat. So mechanically a little bit, yes, just making sure I'm getting it up. But honestly, my threes have been pretty wide open shots. So again, my teammates moving the ball really well and getting me open shots. It's way easier to hit a three when you're wide open versus being covered. So.
Last year, Bucknell went to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 9 years. What'd you learn from that run in March Madness that you can carry over this year as now an upperclassman?
Our seniors last year definitely taught us a lot, and even last year as a winning season, we had a lot, some ups and downs along the road. Our games against Holy Cross and American last year, we struggled a little bit, so we learned from those losses. We learned how to bounce back really well, and I think we're carrying that to this season. We've already faced a lot of ups and downs, and from last year, knowing that we have to keep pushing through, keep going, and that we are a bounce back team, and with a target on our back, we will push through and we will persevere. So carrying over those lessons from last year, playing with a target on your back, knowing that everyone's going to give you their best game.
How would you define leadership?
I think there's different ways to define leadership. There's vocal leaders, there's leaders by example, and I think that's why our junior class and senior class have worked so well together this year, because half of us are vocal leaders and the other half are leaders by example, and I think it's a very good combination out there, and we all recognize that there's different ways to lead. And I think leadership is when your team's, it's more when things are going bad, who your team looks to, and after a loss, who your team is turning to and who's going to have their back and who's going to pick our team up and either vocally tell us hey guys, we're okay, and calm us down, or be that person to turn it around on the court and make a great play to get us out of a rut.
Bucknell's in the upper echelon of the standings the first half of the season here in the Patriot League. Was there a turning point this year? Was there a moment that kind of defined this season where you thought, all right, everybody's kind of gelling on one cylinder right now?
I think it's just time. I think even when we played American in Boston the first couple games, and Army too, we had good games, and it was a tough loss against American, but we were still playing well, and Coach always says it's about the process. And I just think it's, each game we're learning to play more and more together. And people have said before it's a rebuilding year. We have a young team. So I really just think it's time and playing more together. And, Coach has said since, September, we're going to be a way different team in September than we are in March. Just process, keep it going, keep playing together. And the more we play, the more we keep playing together, the more the underclassmen are coming around, the more they're helping us, the more we learn to play with them also. So I really do just think it's time, and that, come March, we're going to be better than we have in the past.
We're sitting here at the jewel of the Patriot League, Soika Pavilion, right behind us. This place is really special. Your junior class, Rachel, is 37-4 in 2.5 years here. Why is this venue so important to you guys?
Yeah, Soika's our baby. Megan McGurk always used to say last year, bury me in Soika. It's our prized possession. But Soika has always been there for us, and we come in here all the time, and we're shooting a lot, and we're very comfortable here, so that plays a part in it. But also, we have such loving support from the community. It's great to play at home, having your fans, your friends from school, our families coming here. We always have support here, and I think in defending your home court with everyone around you, it's just something we take pride in. And this year's definitely tested that a little bit, but I think that loss to Loyola really kind of kicked us in the back a little bit and told us that we really do need to protect Soika, and it's been there for us, and we need to be there for it. And yeah, it's our baby.
Last one, you've got great bloodlines. Your sister, Jen Dumiak, you mentioned American, one of the best players to ever come out of American University, helped the Eagles go to the NCAA tournament a couple of years ago. American's 9-0 right now. Bucknell is breathing down their back. Do you and your sister kind of have a little text war about the Eagles and the Bison? Because it's good family competition.
We don't necessarily talk about how well American's doing right now. It's more about Bucknell right now, and my family has my support, and we supported American when Jen went there, and my family's going to support Bucknell when I'm here. So Jen went to AAU and played at American, but she's also my sister, so you gotta support your family first. And she is an AU alum, so she's probably gonna root for them sometimes, but I would hope that she would root for us when we play each other. But otherwise, we don't really bicker back and forth about it. It's more just focused on how our team is doing right now. And, I think if we play really well against American and beat them, Jen's going to be just really happy for us that, as my sister, that our team won. So,
Rachel, great job this year. Thanks so much for galvanizing this group. There's a lot of potential with this Bucknell team, and I'm looking forward to the second half.
Thanks, Justin. I agree.
That was Rachel Dumiak. I'm Justin Antweil. That about wraps up our Bucknell women's basketball midseason report. The second half of the season starts this coming weekend. All the games will air on the Patriot League Network and Watch Stadium. For Aaron Roussell, Rachel Dumiak, I'm Justin Antweil. Hopefully you still have some data left if you were streaming us via some cellular data. Saying so long here via Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.